Hello and welcome to episode 166 of The Imperial Truth. I'm Greg, if you can't tell. And joining me, as always, is Mr. Howard. How you doing, Howard?
I'm doing much better now. Thank you. Much better now. And just we'll see if we can get you through this one.
Yeah, we were desperately trying to get a little bit tighter on time, and then Howard was hit by a
Oh
heck
my
of a
goodness.
bug. And if you can't tell, I've got a bit of a cough that's in its third week. Hit with a sickness bug as well earlier on. Kids, eh?
Turns out having children exposes you
It's
to all
terrible.
kinds of new exciting things out there, which I
Terrible
haven't
idea.
entirely fully appreciated. But yeah,
Yeah.
tonsillitis turns out to be a thing.
Oh, it was actually tonsillitis, was it? Yeah, we had
Oh,
we had a sickness bug over a weekend that was eventful. But hey,
we
what
promise,
can
promise we won't turn this into. We have to promise ourselves that we're not going
one
to turn
day,
this into a conversation every time we check in and be like, "So,
no,
what ailments have you had this time?"
one day we will be free of this. It will happen. It has to happen, surely. But yeah, we'll see. So that's the reason we are on this time scale of
Apologies.
yeah, and desperate to get this out before fly to Adepticon. So don't know how long it's going to be, but and then we've got a quick turnaround on the next one as well. So keep talking about this being all over the shop. It's the first 4 months of this year are mental. It is what it is. So I will try and cut out as many of my coughs as I possibly can. But apologies if I've missed the odd one. But anyway,
It adds a certain the graveliness. I feel it adds a certain gravitas. I like it.
what's great is within 2 days of being in America, I will have no voice because air conditioning is everywhere and it
Oh yes, of
ruins
course.
me. So this year I've decided to ruin my voice before I get there, just to save time.
Just to really efficiency this thing down. I like it.
Oh yeah, too right. Yeah, no, my voice really suffers with air conditioning. So yeah, 2 days in Acon, I will not be able to speak very well. So yeah, that'd be great.
Are you going to full cosplay Sister of Silence for the full experience?
Possibly, I might take some. I might take some drugs over with me. Although I've got a much more chilled Adepticon. My missus was like, "Don't you come back ill?" And I'm like, "I will," because I'm in
Oh,
a hotel with 5,000 people, like, and stuck on an airplane with people. Like, so chances are I'm going to get something. But the good thing is because I'm very light on my actual activities, I will have late evenings, but I hopefully won't have any early mornings. Maybe one. I'm playing Blood Bowl. I mean, it's not even that early, so but I could actually have some lions, and even during the day I could go and have a nap.
there's nothing wrong with a day nap.
No,
That
exactly.
is, it's unusual in a convention,
Mm.
but I think it's a marathon, particularly Adepticon. I hear.
Yeah, exactly. I think last time I was like, oh yeah, it's my one night. I'm going to get an early night, and just as I was walking to my room, got past the bar, and I got a text message. It's like, "Are you around? I'm in the bar." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Yeah,
I'm back in. Nice.
try and make as much as you can for that. Those five days you're there. But hey, it's all good
Should
fun. And
be a
Sundays,
hell of a trip though. It's going to be quite a big one, I understand.
yeah, it should be good. And they one thing with the Sundays now is there's very little going on. They Nova have done this as well. Basically, Sunday's pack up day only. So
Mm.
there's I haven't got anything booked in for Sunday, and we're not flying out till 9:15 at night. I'm going with Neil Hollis, former presenter of the show, Slayer Sword winner, Neil Hollis. Um, so he will be waiting for the announcements for Golden Demon and all that. But apart from that, like we'll just be hanging out. I think so. So yeah, fingers crossed I can get some rest and then actually maybe sleep on the way home on the plane. Um,
I need to
uh,
tune in on a few different channels. Actually, I haven't heard much build up for Adepticon Golden Demon. Is Neil competing?
yeah.
Nice.
He's working on a few different. Because I don't. Yeah, he went to the last one in the UK, and he didn't do as well as he hoped slash thought. I know the Coal Paint guys did mention him in their wrap-up video for that. So who knows what he's got planned? But it's always good to look at. Should be good fun. But anyway, before we go any further, Element Games for all your hobby needs. Just everything. So if you want decent prices and great service, can't recommend Element enough. If you use our link, then we get a kickback. And in the show notes, we've also got our little Element codes as well. If you want to give a little bit extra, then thank you very much. That'll be wonderful.
And with the little modest price rise that's been kicking around, it's always quite a nice time to be looking at your independent gaming store.
Yeah,
I think it reminds you that they are worth going to and getting your toys from them.
Yeah, and I don't have one that I use around here particularly, so it just makes more sense to get even more from
Well,
them.
quite. Most people have not got one on their doorstep, so
No,
quite nice to have the
nice.
online stores for that purpose.
Indeedly doodly. Right. You been doing much hobby?
Precisely zero.
Exactly. Yeah, me too.
Precisely zero since we last spoke. But
it's a combination of the illness
yeah.
and like getting stuff ready for, because I'm flying out to Australia like 6 days after we get back from Adepticon, so trying to get stuff sorted and ready. It's
quite a lot. Depends what you count as hobby, I suppose, because the hobby is quite broad.
yeah.
Does reading count?
Reading, we'll talk about that
I've
later.
done a lot of reading.
We will talk about reading in a bit, I'm sure. But yeah, no painting, modelling here. Although I did do a little bit of non-heresy. Like actually managed to like stop off at home on a lunch break and do a bit of painting, that kind of thing, which is quite nice.
I've broken up a painted warlord. I got a second-hand few Titans, and I've decided the pose.
Style.
Oh yes, very much so. Decided I wanted to change up the poses quite a bit, so started breaking those up rather carefully, and then not so carefully. So we'll be reassembling. I've been working on reassembling those into slightly more pleasing poses, should we say? So that sort of counts, but yeah, it's been hobby light, should we say?
Indeed, yeah. Oh well, these things happen. We will get through it. So they say. So they tell us. Might even have more hobby money as well. You never know, with some more childcare coming in a year's time. But hey,
yeah,
better than nothing.
I'm not going to complain, given where we are. But yeah. Eventually
we'll pay for it somewhere else. So that's not a problem. But GW haven't stopped.
Goodness no, they have had a few bits and pieces, haven't they?
No. So going back to where we left off last episode, we got to see the what do they call it? The Inhuman Assassin.
It's got some other name, which I'm now going to look.
I was trying to look through it now.
It's got quite a funky name, hasn't it?
The Infernus Abomination.
That's it. I thought it was an Infernus or something. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts seeing it now?
Tricky, this one, I found. Wasn't... When we saw the silhouette, I thought it was quite a strong silhouette. And I had this sort of dark mechanicum, very mechanical feel thing as what I'd kind of expected, whereas it is more on the demon end of things. I remember hearing some designers once discuss when they design something chaosy, they have almost like an invisible slider, and it will either go more mechanical or more demon, and it's usually somewhere in between. And they were talking about using things like 40k obliterators and demon engines and things as an example about how demony or mechanical it go. I thought this was going to go more towards the mechanical. It's gone more towards the demon organic. I think I personally was quite excited about a more mechanical look. I don't mind it. I just find elements of it. The demon aesthetic in general is not my go-to. It's not the one that sits well with me. Entirely. It's fine and it's cool, and it doesn't say anything more so in the artwork for me. The model form. It's a rare thing, with the probable exception of something like the brutes. Generally, I struggle a bit more. I don't mind it. It's kind of cool. It's cool elements, but there's things I'm kind of looking forward to more. It's kind of a long-winded response. Yourself? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sold on it yet. I like it, but yeah, I'm not completely sold on it yet. So it seems like it is based off of Spear from Nemesis.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah,
We got that skin on top of whatever it is, and all that, and that's cool, absolutely cool. Yeah, I think I'd want to see it in the flesh, or maybe see it painted slightly differently as well. Maybe the red, I don't know.
I've got a feeling
Yeah,
there's a
I'm not sure.
creepier paint job on this. I
Yeah,
mean, you
maybe.
imagine it all pale with sort of various like blood or ichor effects coming off of it. I could see some really quite cool features, because there's some really cool features on it. But then there's other parts that are just, I mean, it's kind of
Yeah,
intentionally strange, isn't it? Yeah,
not 100% sure, but it's not. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all.
not at all. It's just as
But
whether or
yeah,
not demons and things are your thing. It's very much in the demon aspect. I think
yeah.
like the mechadendrites are very cool. The sort of mechadendrites, the sort of dreadlock things it's got going on are cool.
I like the guns. I think it's the legs, to be honest. I think it's the
I
bulky
think you might be right.
musculature of the legs. Just
Mm.
seems, I don't know. But hey, we'll see.
Nice
Um,
concept as well, but nice to have some of these
yeah.
sort of demon agents, or these really strange agent type roles. But also what came with them, which was the sort of the sleeper hit, if you like,
Oh,
of who came when this was announced.
hold on. We haven't
Whoa,
finished yet. So we've got
whoa!
before any hit rolls are made during the assault phase, the controlling player must select which weapon profile to use.
Oh, we're doing
So,
rules.
well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean they're there. You can either use Hammer Blade, Strength 8, AP2, Melee, Murder Strike, Brutal 2, two-handed. Doesn't say it's unwieldy. So, at Initiative, Strength 8, AP2, be interesting.
Brutal too.
Brutal 2 as well. Murder
Mm.
Strike 6 plus, cool, yeah. It's Strength 8 is the key, isn't it?
Well, when
Um,
I look down that list, I don't know. To me, that was by far and away the best one.
Well,
The other
yeah, it
two
depends
didn't.
on the initiative though. So Spine
Mm.
Lash, Strength 5, AP4, Melee, Reach 2, so initiative plus 2, Breaching 6 plus 2 handed, and then Talon Rake, Strength 4, AP5, Melee, Shred, Rending 6 plus, Rampage 2, Specialist Weapon. Like those two do look a level below the other one. I can't imagine that it would be that slow.
Spine lash, I suppose, is quite handy with the reach too, like you say.
The Reach 2 is the important bit there, and then Talon Rake's Rampage 2 with Shred means if you want to be clearing out basic troops, maybe that's the thing. But I mean, it depends depends how many attacks it has. If you've only got a handful of attacks, Strength 8, AP2, you'd be in challenges, I suppose. But again, the chances are this model's going to be by itself.
Mm.
So, yeah,
If
interesting.
if that if the hammer blade attack is something like there's something strange in there saying you sacrifice all your attacks for one of those, which I could see being a thing, then maybe
Yeah,
that something
yeah, we
balances it
don't
out. But
know what
otherwise, it seems too good. Well, that one seems just so
does
much
seem
better
a
than
lot
the others.
better.
Hmm.
I say the
If the
only
if the breaching or the rending on the other two was something like even 5 plus, certainly if it was 4 plus, that might tip it a bit more. But
mm,
as it stands, that strength 8 AP2 at initiative, bonkers.
yeah, I mean, you might not need that against like non-marine infantry, something like that. But then most stuff in the game does have a 3-up armor save.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, 2 extra attacks for your Talon Rakes. Does it really matter if they're not AP2, AP3 at least? So
Mm.
yeah, I don't know,
But
but we'll
in
see. We
which
haven't.
case, like you
So
say, that gives you 2 extra attacks. Okay, cool, with talent rakes. But therefore, what role does spine lash take?
yeah, Exactly. Well, yeah, that's the reach is the initiative, just going first. So, there's a reason to take it, but because it's strength 5 AP 4, like how much? Who knows? We don't have the full list, but
No, we don't.
at the moment it seems hard to look past that. But yes, you're right. The release, they're actually out now. These head packs.
Bit of a surprise with this preview, but yeah,
They were.
I've heard nothing but universal praise for these. I've seen.
Yeah. Well, what's really good is they've got actually different ethnic faces, like or different, not even just ethnic, but faces from different regions and
Yeah,
styles and that as
different
well. Because
influences and
there are,
different
yeah,
makeups. It's a huge
there are
range of different things.
there are definitely one complaint from about GW, and not just them but other model makers as well, is they might paint faces black, say, but they might not have more predominantly African features. Whereas some of these, they do, like
Well,
noses are
and there's a
different
wide
shapes,
ranging. There's a
faces are
wide
different
range of
shapes.
different regions seem to have
Yeah,
influenced this. Yeah,
brows are different shapes. Like,
yeah.
there's a huge range of shapes and styles to the faces that, we're not, obviously, we live in such a multicultural world anyway that it's almost become irrelevant. What you look like is where you come from. Yes, you've got ancestral lineage and all that stuff, but there are a variety of facial
Types.
kind of
Yeah,
types. Yeah, I suppose, which is fantastic.
yeah. I think this has been very well received, given that you could take any. I mean, just generally across marine collectors, not just heresy. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is
Oh,
brilliant!
big
I can
time, yeah.
now tailor a force around this, or whatever." I mean, the range of different ways and the way they've done it, I thought was superb. I'd love to see them in unpainted, but even
Yeah,
painted, they've done a good job with the paint jobs on these.
I quite like the second one. The top right guy looks like he's got the old British style mutton chops and tash.
Is this which pack? The first one or the second one?
Set two, top right.
Yes, I see what you
Yeah,
mean. Yes,
I love it. That's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, there's a couple in there. There's not that many I'd want for Spaceballs, but there's a few in there.
I spent a long time ago, try, trying to find a perfect head for Fafnir Ran, a Fafnir Ran conversion.
Right.
Eventually found a 3D printed one, which someone was doing, and it came out. It looked really, really good. They were available on eBay. I did a whole range of designs, ordered it that way. There's a couple in here that are absolutely bang on for that as well, or would have been at the time. And I mean, sort of using the Stormcast head
Yeah.
packs that they did, but now I feel like there's options here.
There's some really nice scars as well put on some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're a big. I wonder how well they're selling, because at the end of the day, I could buy 2 of these packs, and that might do me.
Yeah.
Like one of each, and that might be fine. There'll be 1 or 2 heads which are obviously more popular than others, particularly for certain legions. But
Yeah. The bionics are really good on these as well.
yeah, some of them are
They
really
feel
cool.
like they're a step
White
up from what they
Borg.
are normally.
They look a little Borg.
The middle one on the first pack, certainly, yes.
Yeah.
But
I like
overall, I
them.
still think they're really cool. Particularly that one, the first pack, the one on the left in the centre
Mm.
row. Very cool. It's sort of a real embedded, rather than just looking like I've got a
Added on, yeah.
mechanical eye patch. In like these are all looking quite cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sleeper hit, that one, I think.
All good, yes. Then moving on, the Sakaran Venator is coming in plastic.
Yes.
What a kit.
Faithful reproduction of the resin
Yeah,
model
absolutely.
and the first of them.
Yeah, and I know people are talking about how are they going to do the other ones and stuff. I could see this just being the Venator, because of the nature of it being like the gun embedded in there. I don't know.
I'd like to see how they've done that in the. I'm looking forward to seeing the kit to see how it drops in and out. Whether or not you could have that. Not sure why you would, but I'm not sure why you'd have that interchangeable with the turreted versions.
No,
I'm sure some people might want to.
probably stay like that, but well, we might as well talk about we got the plastic Vindicator coming as well, which is coming with both variants in the
which is
same
cool.
box. Which is
I
which
kind of
is
wasn't
super
expecting
cool.
that.
No, I'm not sure if I can be bothered to magnetise them. Just buy another one. Like take my time and eventually buy a second one. But I know people want infantry. I think it feels like. I mean, there's rumours of a box set coming with infantry. Don't know how true it is. Haven't heard anything official or anything like that.
Or indeed, even I've heard those rumours, and there's no suggestion of time frame. I mean, that could be a year away.
It could be, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was about a year after they did the original box.
That's true. That's true.
That would make some form of sense. But and I'll bet on it being all Mark 6.
Yes, I would have
because
said so.
they're pushing Mark 6. But more vehicles out. Like we've been in the heresy for a long time. We got a lot of vehicles, but people who are new don't. Like so.
And I know plenty of people who the prospect of working with resin and the cost of resin together meant they weren't interested. Whereas a plastic kit comes along, there are people who are jumping in now on stuff that wouldn't have done before. I mean, we've said this before, I'm sure, but I mean, it just doubles down with stuff like this when you see these kits come along, particularly for kits that are kind of classics of the setting and the ones that you might see quite regularly. I mean, a Vindicator in particular. You could say Sakaran really, but I mean, there's certain kits that people are going to want to jump to, and I think those are. I mean, the Vindicator in particular. I think it was a very smart move making it a dual kit. I think that was a good move. Speaking of,
I mean, a lot of that is down to how many sprues it takes to have everything on it
entirely.
as well.
Yeah.
So, like, when people are like, "Why can't they do this?" Sometimes it's like because that extra sprue, like going from 3 sprues to 4 sprues, essentially you're adding.
Suddenly, you've gone from a 50 quid kit to a 70 quid kit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, rightly or wrongly, whatever your views are on the price, that sprues is part of it. Because it's all tooling time as well. But
entirely.
pushing those vehicles out is needed, and we're getting through them quite well, to be fair.
There's a couple that I mean, I'm quite looking. I would hope that they might do land speeders and javelins.
I think they will.
I would imagine they probably will, and that would be quite cool because I think that would be something I certainly would like to see in plastic. But other than that, as you say, we're cracking through them now.
I mean, how many land speeders and stuff are they making for 40k at the moment? So you just move them over to the heresy range, kind of thing. But no, it's good. But what we did get for the infantry set
was quite a surprise. I was
a big
properly
surprise.
Open mouthed when it came out because I think everyone was expecting, it'd be more dreadnought chassis and or another tank or whatever. But when I saw them, I was like, oh, okay, you've done this, and then we read on. Right.
Yeah, the spoiler squad upgrade set in resin, which gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chainsword arms, power axe, and 5 pistols.
It's 5 regular chainswords, and one eviscerator,
heavy,
big chainsword,
heavy chainsword. Cool. What this? So, just trying to break down what this release is. This doesn't feel like a release we should have expected. This feels like people are constantly asking for combat marines. They're in the schedule. However, we can get these cast up get these printed, 3D designed, put out, have them made in resin, which is pretty quick, and get some out and have something available for the period of time that we need it for.
I feel like that's the most logical explanation.
It doesn't feel like why. I just don't understand why else they would have done this. Like with that set of weapons,
when you've done the heavy and special weapons, ranged weapons as plastic sets, why these as resin? I completely agree. And you think, well, it just seems obvious that you're going to do an assault squad or a despoiler squad,
with
probably
different
an assault
poses.
squad. Exactly. It seems obvious you're going to do
maybe
that.
with jump packs in, so you've got options for that down the line. So, like, there's obviously a time scale involved here with something. It feels like GW have gone to this box set release thing for all their game systems. Not starter boxes necessarily, but here's the next kind of a year later. Here's another box of X versus X, and we're going to introduce new stuff in it, and that's going to sit on the shelf for a year. I wouldn't be surprised if we got something like that with, say, despoilers in it, and something else, and maybe that's where you put a land speeder, and who knows, whatever. It's all conjecture, but it just feels like with all the chat that they've actually taken that on board and thought, we'll put something out. And because it's resin, you don't have the upfront tooling costs. If they don't sell that well, they don't miss out that much.
No.
But the problem being, they'll be expensive, and therefore, but they will sell some. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I was just thinking that because there are people who are not going to want to go to 3D printed alternatives that are out there. There are going to be people who want branded things. I mean, I'm searching here for that because I think there's also plenty of people more exposed to things and trying different things, even kit bashing and otherwise. But they are out there. There are some who will pick these things up who say they're going to sell some. It isn't, and the reaction was certainly quite strong when people realised, oh, these are resin, and otherwise, and just wait, continue waiting. But I'm sure people will pick them up.
I think the problem is if you want to do 2 units 20 despoilers, it's extortionate to do that this way, no matter whatever they're going to cost.
It's never going to be the sensible move, is it?
No, and I don't think they're here for that. I think they're here as a stopgap.
Yeah.
And maybe you know what? Maybe we're completely wrong, but it just doesn't feel like a normal release. The only way I feel it makes sense is as a stopgap, because
it's tricky even as a stopgap, though, isn't it? Because you say, well, how is it?
Yeah.
What gap? How does it fill the gap when you can't buy 40 of them? Well, it doesn't make sense to buy 40
because
of them.
You can buy 10.
And you just, but would you?
Well, not if you've got 40, but if you only want 10, then maybe you do. It also doesn't fit the. They told us that all the core stuff will be plastic. Right, so this doesn't really fit that either. So it just, when you look at it logically, and it could be wrong, but it just feels like this is a measure that is in place until we have something.
There's an interesting awareness in the article, which is something they don't always do.
Yeah.
But that last line, or that last paragraph in the article, and don't worry, more plastic infantry is in production.
Yeah, and
they didn't need to say that.
Well, they don't say these things.
I'm really glad they did, but it wasn't something I was expecting them to say.
Yeah, that just doubles down on, and even the Age of Darkness isn't just about tanks. That is a direct response to what's written after every post on Facebook and Instagram and wherever. It's a direct response. People going, "Salt Marines when?" or whatever. So yeah, it's like, hold on, it's coming. Here's something to tide you over. But
I'm just looking at the painted Blood Angel they've got on the article there. The paint job on that is ridiculously good.
It's good, isn't it? That's the heavy metal specialist games design heavy metal team doing their thing.
They've really put some effort into that for what is a pretty niche release in terms of as we're framing it in the way that we're talking about it now. I mean, that is high end. Look at the edge highlights and stuff on that. The battle damage and stuff is crazy. And
It's pretty good. But if
squad
they're only
markings as
painting
well.
one marine, it does help.
True. Yeah, true.
I mean, it still take a long time, but
That's not something you're just throwing out though.
no.
That's taken hours. Anyway, an interesting release. It certainly
Yeah.
caused
So
quite a stir.
I just maybe I'm just too much of a grumpy old man to get too overexcited either way about these things. But I'm like, I'm not going
Not
to
as
get
much
angry about
as
them.
I saw a lot of people who were really quite displeased with that.
Oh, the
And
discords I was in, the wailing and gnashing of teeth was ridiculous. And it's like, well, it just does seem to be like, a thing. Get over it, almost. Like, don't get me wrong, it's annoying to have to wait. I mean, moving on now, we're like Demons of the Ruin Storm aren't getting their full list until hopefully summer. They said, it might be summer. And I saw someone say that's 18 months since the game was released, and it's not. It's a year since the game was released. Is that fine? But then demons aren't also a main faction. You've got 18 legions you can play, plus Custodes, plus Sisters of Silence, plus Solar Auxilia. So you've got 21
possibly
armies.
militia by then as well.
Maybe by then, but even right now, you've got 21 armies you can play. Is demons not being around now? Don't get me wrong. Like, my main army that I've got most of is
I was
demons.
going to say, yeah, you're
So
probably one of
I
the.
do want it. I
one of
really
your
want it.
big armies.
I'm sitting there going, I'm going to an event in, I can't remember when it is, and I'm like, I want to take the demons, but I don't know if I can. But it's demons, it's not marines, is it? So, there's plans there, and I mean, even here they answered. So what we got, because this is all going to come out as part of their next. Obviously, we know their exemplary battles are going to focus on non-Astartes. Bear with me. But we have. So the first is is a much anticipated Imperialist militia list as a PDF. So armies a Kit Basher's dream, and we saved it until the release of the new Cadian shock troopers, the veteran guardsmen, and the blooded to make it more achievable. So, and this is part of the problem GW have. That information in October or November, when we should have had the militia book by, maybe that shows how delayed the Imperial Army, the 40k stuff is. Because if that was designed to work with this, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's a bit of bad communication between departments. Can happen a lot. But they've told you now why it was delayed. It's because we wanted this stuff out. Because of course they want your money. They don't want you going to X company and 3D printing stuff or buying third-party options. They don't want to lose money like that. They're like, you've got all this new stuff we've dropped. You can use it for this army. Cool.
Yeah.
So they're responding a little bit to the internet, which is good. They are restricted by. Yeah, they're obviously restricted. They can't say anything until that guard stuff's out because they're not allowed to talk about stuff beforehand and what have you. But they also say a few other army lists. So Imperialist militia, demons, they were already mentioned. So what are the few others beyond that?
Yeah, there's not a lot. Unless it's obviously sounds like it'll be something new because there's not a lot that it's not anything I can think of that we're specifically waiting for.
Unless they're counting like agents of the War Master as one for the demon, something like that, which is fair. But
well, particularly if they're taking much like this bound demons things,
Shields.
it's maybe. Oh yes, that's
Shields
of course,
probably be one of those. But a few means more than two. Like be a couple, so that sounds pretty cool. Mech, dark mech, could be one of those as well. So that would give us a nice 3.
Or at least as a taster before it becomes something bigger.
Yeah, I mean they've said. I mean, so we're working on a few other army lists, so that's got to be enough to be an army list. I would guess Black Shields, Dark Mech.
Agreed, but I would wonder if if you count the thing that we've seen here, the burning of on Mat, which has got these bound demons of the Ruin Storm, which is what is it, 5 at most
Yeah,
data sheets in there.
but they
It's a mini army list, which I could see them doing several of those.
yeah, but they'd already talked about after that we'll be returning to all things demonic with a full army list for the demons of the Ruin Storm. Sounds separate, might not be, but sounds separate. So yeah, that's all interesting.
There seemed to be quite a bit of work went into this, and there's quite a bit of background in this.
Well, I think I haven't read through it all yet, but
Me neither.
I wonder if
But
it'll
it
become
looks pretty
part of
cool.
the. I wonder if it'll become part of the demons book, as it were. Yeah. So essentially, now you can have bound demons with your army.
Which is nice. It's nice that exists as an option, and sort of gives us an idea of where they might go with demons. I thought that the 8 different flavors of demon that you can take, and I thought it just all looked quite cool. I haven't got into the mechanics of it. I don't know if they're wildly under or over capable in some way,
but we don't know
just
yet. We
thought it was
haven't got
nice.
any points for them because he's. As in, no, we've got points for that. Are the dominions all free then? Do you choose? Because I haven't looked at that yet. Special.
I think they are.
Yeah, might be. May only have one variation of the no model with special. Choose a model with a different. Must select one from the etheric demon list below during the army selection process before the start of the battle for no additional cost. Is therefore treated as having that variation. Yeah, so there will be. I haven't had a chance to go through and look at it all yet. But yeah, plenty of options to have different styles of your chosen chaos god or minor god, maybe. Yeah, obviously some are more specific than others, aimed than others, but any traitor army can take them. You don't need an esoterist. You can have the warlord trait to have them as well to make your warlord a psyker. But the esoterist allows you to bring them up further up the board more reliably. So it's quite interesting because this was a conversation that someone brought up, was like, why have an esoterist now? And it's like, well, otherwise, if you fail that first leadership test, these all go into reserve and have to walk on your edge of the table, and they haven't got big las cannons.
I was going to say that is a tough game.
So you have to run across the board at someone. It's not bad. It's not terrible, but it's not where you want them to be.
It's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can drop them further up the table and cause more problems, it's obviously going to be better. Yeah, so it's a bit of a risk if you don't have that esoteric basically, but it can work really cool. Samus has got a bit of a boost. Strength 8, toughness 7.
There was something sort of slightly. It felt slightly odd, I suppose, is the wrong word, but of the idea of just seeing him bound Kabanda, bound Samus. So obviously, that's the theme of the list, so it makes sense. Just a slightly sort of okay, right, yeah.
I mean,
but like you say,
bound's a strange word, isn't it? But it's basically summoned, isn't it? It's they're not free reign here. They've been called in. Yeah, there's lots of rules going. I like the fact Samus is bulky 7. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Got to re-roll successful invulnerable saves in challenges against Samus, which is nice. But yeah, lots of stuff going on with them. I haven't sat there and gone through it kind of fully yet. Carbanda you can have. It's interesting because it's one of those things where have we read all the rules properly? Because Carbanda is a Lord of War, but there was the question that technically bound demons are an allied force. Lords of War are then a separate thing. Basically, you can always take a Lord of War that's not in your main primary force. So it is, you can do it, but it's one of those things. I mean, there's a lot of rules in this game, and we haven't had everything out to kind of play with them all and stuff. But you can definitely there's definitely lots to be read and ways to make things work. I mean, you would hope they don't put something out that you can't ever use. That's not going to be in the intention, for sure.
No.
But yeah, Carbander's a beast.
Yeah, I was just reading through his rules. He is potent.
All the 8s, always good.
Yeah.
What does Skullkeeper do? Rage 3 for any etheric demon. Heedless slaughter within 12 inches. That's not bad. Always good fun. Yeah. I mean, there's special rules if you've got Sanguinius on the table. Yeah, cool. Hellstorm templates in there, which is still good. He had a similar rule to that in the first game. And he's got Strength User +4, AP2, Sunder weapon. That's not bad, is it?
And a little range type thing as well. But yeah, that main weapon is serious business.
With Sunder, because you need Sunder when you got Strength 12, just in case you roll that 1, I suppose. Basically, pretty much. But the beasts themselves it's limited, but I like it. I think it's quite cool. Demon Brute, movement 8 is pretty cool. Toughness 5, and the bound demons don't get the +1/-1, so they're always getting those stats. Well, it doesn't degrade over time, shall we say? But 135 points for 3 demons. They've only got a 4-up save and a 5-up infallible. But Strength 5, Toughness 5 with 3 wounds. It's not terrible.
No. The 3 wins. Initiative 5, yeah, not bad.
AP3 weapons, which is better than last time. I mean, you could obviously upgrade them last time, but they've got 2 Murderous Strike 5 up and Rending 6 up. Like, that's not bad base.
And they're reasonably quick. Movement 8.
Exactly. Bearing in mind you can run 5 inches as well.
Yeah.
So I like that. The Demon Regents, again, movement 8, initiative 5.
And then presumably you can do some clever stuff with these dominions that they can take.
Yeah. Then you're adding either for flavour or however you want it. I would probably have Heedless Slaughter, must declare a charge if able and begin with assault phase within 8 inches of the target. Yeah, cool. +1 score you determine if they win combat, and add 1 to the value of any sweeping advance. Not terrible.
I wasn't super familiar with the demons from the previous edition, obviously the first edition. Are these dominions taken?
Very different.
They're very different, right? And, both in rules and in name? Because it's the first. I was discussing this with some friends yesterday, and it was interesting seeing these because there's obvious parallels one can draw with the 4 major powers, or which one is each.
They had 6 dominions to start with, 1 representing each god, 1 for the Malal-esque one, and 1 for can't remember the last one. But so these are slightly different.
Which I quite like because it is representative of the 8 powers.
Yeah, the old rules of the Dominions were your objectives as well, and that's the key thing. They've got rid of you not playing the main game, which was a terrible rule. The Khorne-esque Dominion was you basically got points for every unit destroyed in combat, friend or foe. So you would just run everything into combat, and I played against it with Custodes, and I was trying to work out what's the best way of making sure this unit pops on combat res. And I don't kill them, because if I kill them, I'm giving up a point. And I can't, and because a lot of the missions, you just don't get that many points. So there were 2 or 3 which were just awful to play against. Right. They've removed that. They've toned them down a bit, which is cool. sensible as well. But there's various. You got more options as well. But then you haven't got in this. You haven't got the upgrades. So last time it was like the Tyranid book, where there were 20 upgrades and only like if you took the Khorne Dominion, you could have access to about 16 of those upgrades.
Right.
But that doesn't mean to say that that won't come in a normal demon Ruinstorm demon list. Like the bound ones might be more restricted, which makes sense. But yeah, they look cool. It'll be cool to see people. Now you can summon demons. Like you can do the things that people wanted to do, particularly like word bearers and stuff like that.
Are there any? I mean, as a demons player, the brutes are particularly nice models?
Yeah,
they are quite spendy. They're quite expensive.
they are hugely.
Are there
Especially for 135 points a unit.
exactly? Are there plastic GW models that are sort of broadly usable?
Depending on which Dominion you go for, potentially. The problem is you've got the bigger stuff for Khorne was cavalry, so you'd end up using that. You could go into.
I suppose Fiends of Slanesh are a possibility.
Yeah, but only if you play. Only if you're on a
indeed,
Slanesh
yeah,
themed army.
you are moving
Beasts,
yourself in a particular field.
Beasts of Nurgle, potentially. Yeah, brutes, quite big models. I wonder if we're going to get an expansion on demon releases coming forwards. I don't know. I love the brute models. I think they're amazing.
Completely
I wish
agree.
they'd
I think
released
they're
the
some
ones
of the
with
best
wings.
ones.
I don't know that we're ever going to see the ones with wings now. I think there's just too much resin in the model for them to think people are going to buy them, which is a damn shame because God, when did we see them? Like 7 years ago or something. They're amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I've got loads of bloodletters, loads of brutes, well, a few brutes, and some cav and some dogs, and that ready to go for whatever they come up with. What's interesting is these don't have like base sizes or anything on them. So the original list also had the recommended base size, which some people were like, "Oh, I'm not putting that on the 100 mil base. I'm going to put it on the 50 mil base." And it's like, well, if it's recommended at 100 mil, personally, I was like, put it on 100 mil. But if you're using an 80 mil, okay, 50 mil, that's a massive difference. And there's good reasons for going up and down as well. Like they do affect the game. People will say, oh, it doesn't really affect the game. It can do. Like if you're doubling the base size, the reach of your effects, a massive bonus. And if you're reducing the base size, you can fit so many more in a small space and all that stuff as well. So, but these don't have any of that. So I can only assume we're going to get bound demon regions as models.
Well,
because the brutes models are already there.
What size base does the brute come on?
Oh, they're like 60s,
50s, 50s.
50s.
So I'm wondering about things like you've got the Chaos. I mean, I'm looking at the Age of Sigmar Chaos range, and there's the Ogroid things came out.
Yeah.
Those are a possibility. I'm just trying to see what base size there is, depending on what style you're going for. But there's options out there, isn't there?
My word. The Ruinstorm Demon Brutes are £83 for 3.
Yeah. Whereas these Ogroid ones are a plastic kit, so they're 40 quid from GW, 20% off from excellent stores such as Element Games.
50 mil rounds.
Is that what the Ogroids are on?
That's what the Brutes are on.
And these Ogroids are on 50s. So yeah, they wouldn't be a bad proxy.
Yeah, potentially.
A bit too mortal, perhaps, but
well, you could use. I would certainly I'd be thinking of the unit themselves, okay, but the actual Thaumaturge and the Myrmidon Champion are lovely.
They really are.
But limited models. But then you're only getting 3 brute models, anyways.
Well, quite. And
Who
you
knows?
could perhaps you could mix those up with because I was also looking at Chaos Spawn, so you could have them with a sort of a kit bash between
Yeah,
those and Chaos
there's
Spawn
quite a
to
few
do something.
options. I've seen people making armies out. My problem was with using GW stuff. I felt you either had armies that provided all the small stuff really well, like Night Haunt. People were making Night Haunt,
Those are
and
cool. Those are cool. Yeah.
yeah, and the Sylvaneth range as well. But I didn't feel that Night Haunt or Sylvaneth really made the big stuff work. And then the models that had the big stuff didn't have any of the small stuff in the range, so you couldn't find one extensive range that covered everything
No.
without doing a lot of work. And there were one or two armies out there which were really extensively worked on to make look cool, but I thought it was quite difficult. I mean, I've got loads of huge stuff from Mercer Miniatures. Their brute models didn't quite fit for me in the end. I did buy some, but it didn't quite work. But yeah, there's lots of stuff out there, and particularly now with 3D printing. I'll be
3D
100%
printing is
choices
going to be it is going to be stuff that people
for
are
that.
probably going to be looking at for that. But some people like to work with plastic, of course. And there's just not that much out there for that sort of thing. That's the surprising thing, particularly not if you were trying to remain generic.
No, I mean, that's the nature of the warp, isn't it? It's although it's based on lots of stuff, it's quite unique. So, like the only thing I can think of is someone did loads of Lovecraft stuff, but the beauty of Lovecraft was like the descriptions are always a bit vague and out there, and no one's making like loads of Lovecraftian models of stuff that isn't.
They could be quite cool. Necropolis Stalkers from the Bone Reapers range.
Yeah,
Different kind of
yeah.
language, but again, yeah, you could do something with them.
You could do like haunted bone stuff.
Yeah.
You could do Necron stuff and have it more robotic.
Yeah, do
There
a
are
dark mechanic
options.
because there was one I noticed. There was one of the Dominions is Artifice, and given that 40K's got the new character and it's going down that route of being the sort of this dark mechanicum kind of feel soul forge thing. Yeah, that could be quite cool actually. Some Necron styles. Yeah, these Bone Reaper things are on 50s as well, 50 mil basis, three of them for a set of probably 40 quid, £35 for them. Yeah, so there's options depending on what language you wanted to go for.
Indeedly doodly. Just had a very small break there that you listeners won't have heard, but we just come back from a production meeting. That would be the terminology.
An on the fly production meeting like that.
Absolutely.
That sounds really slick.
Well, these things happen in media, don't they? So we need to be accessible and flexible with everything going on. We are going to leave that there. It's another short episode. We do apologise, but we need to get to bed because otherwise it's just going to carry on. So we are going to keep that one short. We are going to have to see what we can put out for the start of April. But there's a lot going on.
I will make myself as available as possible because
I don't know if
your time is going to be all over the place.
Yeah, I've got like 5 nights at home after leaving the missus with the baby for 5 nights. So
I'm sure she'll be delighted when you say, "I'm going to go and chat to that annoying guy on the other end of the phone." Yeah, I'm sure. She'd be delighted.
It might be more. I just need to sleep to be able to then cover the 25 hours journey time it will take to get to Oz with a 1-year-old.
Oof.
So yes, that's fun. So who knows what will happen? I will try and get something out. We will do something, and then
we'll definitely get something in. It's just won't necessarily
when
be
and
as
how and
crunchy.
what.
Won't necessarily be as crunchy as some of our episodes are.
Indeed. So something will happen at some point, and it will come out at some point, and then I mean we get back from Oz, and then 2 weeks later we got Fest. So
we got some ideas for that as well. We're gonna have to do some cool things for that.
Indeed.
But
Fact,
are we gonna have to talk Adepticon?
So the one question, Howard, is: are you going to stay out for the reveal show at Adepticon?
You see, people are already taking bets on whether or not I'm going to stay up for this. Friends of mine are like, "Are you doing a live reveal show? Are you going to stay up and have a live reveal party?" I tell myself that I'm not going to. I tell myself that I'm going to be like, no, I'll just turn on in the morning. I'll be there. But
You'll
I'm
still
hearing
be
good
there at
things.
3 o'clock in the morning,
It
mate.
will be, won't it? Yeah.
I'll be messaging you live from that.
I'd expect
11.
nothing less.
Indeed.
I'm going to say that I'm not going to be up for it, and then I almost inevitably will be.
Awesome. I had a friend message me. He actually waited till about 10 to 7 in the morning, and he's like, "So at 3 a.m. when I listen to your voice the most, when the baby is not sleeping," I was like, "All right, mate, how you doing?" But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Okay, right. Well, we'll leave that there. We'll come back soon. We'll be talking
Exciting
about
times, I think.
Bubble Festival.
Exciting times for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, yeah, next couple of months, it just doesn't seem to stop. So, yeah, we'll sort that out. Awesome. Cheers, mate.
Good talking to you, buddy.
And thank you for listening to another episode of The Imperial Truth. As you can tell, my voice has got better, which is always typical for these kind of things. I am doing this close up as I'm halfway through packing the night before heading out to Adepticons. It's all a bit of a mad rush, so we're going to keep it short and sweet. If you do want to support the show, of course, Element Games using the link in the show notes does provide us a kickback. Thank you for anyone who's using that. It's much appreciated. If you are going to be at Adepticon, if you're listening to this on the way out there or what have you, it should be launched as I'm in the air probably. Well, not quite in the air, but I'll be putting all the socials up while we're in the airport. Yeah, if you are at Adepticon, you want to come and say hi, I'll be around. Usually not too hard to miss. But yeah, feel free, although there are a lot more English people over there than there used to be. So it's not as easy to do it just on the accent anymore. But yeah, we're going to, as we said, we're going to try and organise some kind of recording, cross-Atlantic recording mid-Adepticon. We'll see if we can arrange that. If not, we'll be back anyway. And there's always going to be stuff to talk about, and we'll push on with that. Because as I said, there's a quick turnaround before I'm off again. But anyway, that's enough warble, I think. We have had a couple of emails recently. Haven't replied. We're going to cover it on the show and ran out of time. But if you do want to send an email, please do. I am slowly trying to get through kind of my organisational system to get back to you. And again, that might be done while I'm sitting in an airport or on an aeroplane. Fingers crossed. Got a bit of time to waste on the way over. You can only watch so much TV in that period. So, yeah, please feel free to email Greg at theimperialtruth.com. And until next time, you have been listening to The Imperial Truth.